Ladies and gentlemen, this is another episode of the Line in the Sand podcast. Do not adjust your televisions or your computers or your phones. I am not Key in the building, but this is cool. I am in the building for tonight only because we know everybody likes Key in this position. I got to sit in the gorilla position and run things tonight. Shout out to Key, our normal host for the show, the innovator of the Sports Empire Network. But right now, it's your boy Cool. And beside me, I've got a new addition to the show. Nick, what's going on, man?
Not much. How are you guys?
Good. And making his return, looking very devious as always.
Absolutely.
Mr. CR Media himself. Chase, what's going on, man?
Absolutely. Back in the house. I'm doing pretty good. Made some schedule adjustments so I can start being here consistently. Because what would the world be without Sports Empire's residential professional wrestling guy, CR Media, Chase, in the house for the Line in the Sand podcast? I like it. Pleasure having Nick. Nick, welcome to the Empire. Welcome to the Line in the Sand show.
Thank you.
Good to have you on, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Hopefully we get no crazy stuff from you.
Well, I mean, I'm here, so something crazy will be said for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Key, the aforementioned Key, hits us with a "Let's go, we back," and then also, oh snap, it's a Chase sighting. Laugh out loud. Right. Yeah, hopefully we'll get more of those in the future. Leanne, a couple emojis there for us. Appreciate you, Leanne, for checking us out as well.
Yes.
So guys, there has been a lot, and I mean a lot, that has happened in the world of sports entertainment / professional wrestling, depending on what show you're watching, which side of the fence you're on, if you're a JAS supporter or not. But we got to start somewhere, right? So we have a new show that debuted on Saturday night, Collision, AEW. Another comment here from Matthew. Hi, Uncle Chase, Mr. Rob, and Seth Rogen. We'll take it.
Matthew's a character. Matthew is a character. Appreciate you tuning in, though, Matthew.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Real quick, Cool, before we get started, if you don't mind, if you guys are watching the show, and you guys haven't already, let us know that you're here watching by putting a comment in, even if it's just emoji, like our friend Leanne Beeks did. She put a heart and a flame emoji in there. Also, smash that like button, whether the thumbs up button on YouTube or the like button on Facebook. It helps with the algorithm, helps get it out there. Me, Nick, and Cool, we want the whole world to hear our opinions because we think our opinions are awesome. So that kind of helps us get it out there. So would appreciate it if y'all would do that. And as a way to say thank you, Sports Empire Network has partnered with SeatGeek.com. So when you go to a wrestling event or any sporting event, make sure you use the code SEN for Sports Empire Network and get $20 off your first purchase. We greatly appreciate it. Sorry. Had to pay the bills.
Yeah, that's the
rent's due, baby.
Chase intro like Chase, right? Like you can try, but you could never do the Chase intro like Chase. It just rolls off. Y'all see how that just rolls off, right?
Might have to use that code for September when I go to Payback.
There you go.
There you go.
I used it for WrestleMania in LA. It worked. So
I used it for Philly game last year and it worked.
Yep. Bought me a beer at
what?
At SoFi, yeah. A $16 beer with a $4 tip.
What? So,
there you go. Nice. Yeah, man. So Collision opens and out walks CM Punk. So we'll talk about CM Punk separately. If you want to throw him in now, that's fine. But you have a separate question in regards to CM Punk that we'll ask later on as well. So, Nick, what were your thoughts on the very first episode of AEW Collision?
So I was super excited for it. I was ready to finally be able to watch wrestling on Saturday nights, and I was watching it, and I was probably shouldn't have been out all day long. I went tubing on Saturday, so I was drained, tired from the sun. Watched CM Punk, and I watched the first match. I saw Luchasaurus win, and then I ended up falling asleep. And I woke up to the Acclaim coming out, and then I went upstairs, was trying to pull it up, and then it was over by the time I got upstairs. And I was trying to find it to watch it back, and I couldn't find it. It's not available on the DVR yet for YouTube TV, so I'm going to hopefully be able to watch it back. But from what I've seen about the matches and the rest of the card, it looked like a really good card. The main event, from what the videos I've seen, looked really good. And I'm going to be watching from here on out every week, no matter what.
Lucha Dinosaur.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So, I enjoyed it. I love the lighting. I love the stage. I love the look. I was not a fan of this show being put on Saturday nights because I was like, it's Saturday night. Nick just said it perfectly. He was tubing all day.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. As far as the longevity of this show, I don't know like how long it's going to last on Saturday night before Tony Khan and Discovery say, hey, we need to move it to a different night.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously supposed to be a second flagship show that's going to take over, be side by side with Dynamite, which puts Rampage kind of at the bottom tier. We may see them flop eventually. Put Collision on Friday nights and put Rampage on Saturday. But the show overall was really good. They're playing hot potato with the TNT Championship again. That's a little weird to me, but I think what's best for Luchasaurus is for if they're going to do something, because obviously they planted the seeds and, with Christian and Luchasaurus. So I think later down the road, we may see Luchasaurus lose the Luchasaurus gimmick. But the other matches, good to see Miro back.
I was excited
really, Andrade and Buddy Matthews. Buddy
Great
Murphy.
match.
Great match. If you missed that match, go back and watch it. It was a special treat.
And by the way, if you have Hulu, you have to search for it, but you can now see the first episode if you have Hulu Live,
Okay.
Hulu TV. It took way more days than it should have, but maybe just because it was the first, show and getting everything in the algorithm. But yeah, you can watch it, I think, as of yesterday. So if you missed it or missed any part, you can go back and watch it on Hulu now.
I have YouTube TV, so I wasn't sure if they would get it right away, but when I looked, it had the next 2 episodes lined up. And I know I've tried to watch it find it on Hulu, but saw that I needed Hulu TV, but I rock with YouTube TV, so hopefully it shows up sooner or later.
It should hopefully be up there by now. So Keith says finally Miro is back. I'm a big Miro fan. Hopefully he gets more TV time. Exactly. I think this Redeemer gimmick is perfect for Miro. We need more vignettes. We need to understand the character. We need to be a little bit more crazed like he was before. That was a great character. That was great. They just stopped it for whatever reason. For me, the highlight of the show was the 4-way scissor. That's good TV.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was nice to see Tony Schiavone slide in there with a little bit of the scissoring, man. The whole scissoring thing, man, at first I was like, what in the world? But as they continue to do it, it's grown on me, man. It's great. Like, I'd be showing my friends, I'm like, hey, check this out. I'm like, this is what AEW is all about.
Yeah.
And I saw the scissor. They're dying laughing. They never forget it. They always remember that.
Some of the old heads don't like it, man, because my son will do it anytime we go to like an independent wrestling event. My son walks around and goes and scissors people. And there's a bunch of old people that are like, get out of here with that. I don't want to do that. So
well, if I'm ever at an event with your son, I'm gonna give him one of those good ones. I'm like,
oh, that's what he does. He walks up and he'll go scissor me, and as soon as they do it, he goes, oh, like that.
Yeah. I give him the power scissor, man. The power scissor.
Right.
All right, so we got Freddie in the comments. Freddie says, "What's up?"
Today
You
is
got
12
Matthew.
years. Ryan Dunn passed away. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that sucks.
Appreciate Matthew. Appreciate Matthew bringing down the mood.
Yeah, great job, Matthew. And then Keith is of course. But I also was interested in the women's tag team match. Are we setting up Willow Nightingale maybe and Ruby? Maybe got that going on possibly.
Anything that they can do
also,
to push Willow Nightingale would be great.
Yeah, and also where is Soraya? I know she's undisclosed reasons that she's out, but you got to see Soraya. I mean, I can't speak for anyone else, but I am a Soraya fan. Okay, I want to see Soraya on TV.
I saw a tweet
Soraya
today
with Tony Storm.
It said she's going to be coming back at any time. No idea why she was out, where she was, but she'll be back at any time. So who knows?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Christopher says, I got a belt. How do I get myself on the show? Hey, Christopher, you're talking to the right people, man.
Besides me,
talk.
I didn't get the memo that you needed a belt to be on the show.
No, you don't. You don't. I just
it's not a requirement.
I just got this one last week, and I was like, I don't wear it on any of my other shows, and I knew Cool was going to wear his tonight, so I was like, oh, this is the perfect time for me to show it off. Otherwise, they just sit on a shelf, and my wife just complains about them. So,
big goal, baby, big goal.
Yeah,
gotta show off big goal. Even though he's been changed a little bit now, but we're gonna go old school.
Yep. Correct.
All right, so Dylan, what's up, man? We got Dylan with some dropping the fire emojis for us. Appreciate that. So Key asked a question that we will definitely answer because that's what interactive interaction is all about. Do you think the women's division needs work? What do you think?
I think that it's gotten better. Of course it could still use some improvement, but I think it's gotten a lot better than what it was just a mere 3-4 months ago.
Fair enough. Nick, what about you? What do you think? I'm assuming we're talking about AEW since that's the topic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gotten better, and it could definitely get even better. The Willow getting a push would be awesome. Tony Storm back as the actual champion and not throwing around the word interim and all that, and just being able to elevate that women's title. And then now Statlander being back and ending Jade Cargill's crazy undefeated streak and just being able to keep that prestige going for that title and just elevating everything.
Chase, any other thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, everything they're doing right now, with, Soraya and Sky Blue. You got to throw Sky Blue out there.
Another big one. Another big star in the making.
Yeah, definitely.
I like it. I think the Outcasts need another member. I think the 3, it's okay, but it would be better if you drop a 4th member, right? Kind of like an enforcer type wrestler. Not quite sure going through the roster in my mind who it would be, but definitely. I mean, I have the perfect person, but she's not there. The perfect person would be Tamina, right? Just a very strong female that can be that enforcer that you send them out when things get dirty, kind of like Solo is for the Bloodline, right? That type of that type of person. So I think that would be great. And I'm sure there's other options as well. But it's just the one that pops in my head first. But I do think to answer Key's question specifically, yes, it is better. I do agree with Nick. They are moving in the right direction because they're not forcing it.
Yep.
They're figuring out good feuds and good ways to do it. You have 2 shows now, so you're kind of using a formula so far with Collision that if it's not broke, don't fix it. Let's not try to force 5 women's matches in one show. Just, if something makes sense, let's put it there. If it doesn't, let's build to something that does make sense. And I got to shout out my guy, Saijin. I don't know if you guys watch other shows and see Saijin. Saijin supports all of our shows on the network, so shout out to him and appreciate him for hopping on as well, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just a matter of continuing to build, right? You have the good base, you have the 2 shows, so they're doing, I think, a smart thing by not introducing new championships. Just saying we're going to have them. The champions are basically going to be on both shows. The champions are the champions, at least for now, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's great as well because you don't want to have oversaturation. I think WWE pulls it off because they made it clear that it's like a complete split. I think AEW is more kind of like we have certain people that are going to be on this show because they don't get along with certain people on the other show, and then we're gonna have certain people that may do a little bit of both. But I think it's smart the way they're doing, and then obviously the Outcasts are a group you're going to want to have on both shows at least in the beginning because they're either really popular or very disliked.
Yep.
And that's kind of what you want.
Absolutely.
No problem, Sajin. Sajin says thanks. No problem, Sajin. So while we're on it, so we did slightly mention. So Jade lost her championship.
Yes.
Finally. And we gotta give Matthew his 5 seconds here. High oxygen. So since she's lost the championship, what do you guys see as what's going to be next for Jade? I think she's going to be taking some time off from some things I've read, which makes sense, right? You were on almost every week for a while, give you a chance to. She has a small daughter, a young daughter, so opportunity to kind of spend some time with her and do some things outside of wrestling. For a bit and then come back a little bit fresher and a little character tweak maybe. What do you guys think is going to be next for Jade Cargill when we see her again in AEW?
Got to jump into potentially going up against Toni Storm for the women's title. I mean, Tony kind of called her out at the pay-per-view where she lost and told Tony Khan that she'd slapped the tits off her. So, and I don't see any reason why she couldn't get in line to top 3, not right away. Like you said, take time off and then come back and get into the title picture and make her way there and potentially be the one that beats Toni Storm.
Okay, Chase.
I agree. I think when Jade's ready to come back, it doesn't even have to be a top 3. Jade walks in the building and she gets a title shot. I think that's the obvious call because if she goes for a rematch against Statlander and loses and then tries to go after the women's championship, it's not going to feel the same. As soon as she comes back, she just boom
pulls the Charlotte Flair, goes right to the front.
Yep. The only other thing.
Next question.
The only thing I could see Jade doing, just because in AEW's short time, AEW has done a really good job of leaving no stone unturned, and we had an appearance earlier this year by Bow Wow, and Bow Wow told Jade that he would see her very soon. What I'd love to see happen is Bow Wow come in and bring Mercedes, and we get Mercedes versus Jade.
That would be
but that's going to take a while though, because Mercedes jacked herself up like she always seems to do when she's on a strong run.
Okay. Yep.
So I was thinking about that.
Go ahead.
Whenever I'd read somewhere that they made that she was supposed to win, that she was supposed to beat Willow and everything. So I'm thinking if that was Mercedes that won, would that have been her that showed up whenever Willow showed up? And then would that have been her way to get into AEW?
I think before Mercedes got injured, I think we potentially could have seen a Jade versus Mercedes match in Forbidden Door.
I definitely agree with that. So Sajin says, sup, and Matthew. Key says that would be dope to Chase's idea. So I'm thinking what you're thinking with Bow Wow, but I'm thinking it may be someone else because of the injury. But I think you need that bridge, right? You need that comeback, show us the new Jade character, a couple of matches for her. But eventually we have to get Jade versus, if it's still Toni Storm or whoever's the champion. Now, if Tony's not the champion, it could be Toni as that, that bridge to the championship because of, like you said, what she said about slap the tits and all that. So I think it's going to be either a kind of high profile feud and then stepping into the title picture, or it's going to be a couple of feuds. But you've got to get her in the title picture, as you guys have both said, rather quickly because she's hot right now. She's just coming off the street. She only lost because she had to have two matches in one night because Smart Mark opened his mouth. So it's kind of like she lost, but in a way that doesn't hurt her credibility, right?
Yeah.
It's okay to lose. It's okay to go 1-1 and lose in the second match. So I think that was a great way to write her off for a few, give her that much probably needed break, and she still got that streak, which was amazing to be honest. So I'm very excited about that and what will happen with her because I see her as a woman that can take this time to even get better at the wrestling piece. Because as a showmanship piece, Jade is up there all the way.
Yeah.
But on the wrestling piece, she can use some improvement. So this is a time that she can go back, do some training, do some learn some new moves, kind of get some of the stiffness out, and even be a better wrestler when she returns. But while we're talking about females, Nick brought it up. Let's switch gears for a minute. We'll come back to AEW, but we got to switch gears. Charlotte Flair, this is Call My Own Shot, is back. She's in this kind of looks like three-way kind of thing, this triangle with Bianca and Asuka. And if you watched SmackDown, Bianca lit Charlotte up verbally. I was all for it. Especially the ending when she was like, basically, it's okay, you got the match over me, it's fine. But just so you understand, as soon as that match is over, whichever way you win, I am coming for you.
Yep.
And I love it because it shows like a different little wrinkle with Bianca. I think a lot of people want Bianca Belair to be a heel or turn, but you got to realize something. She's strong with the. I want to make sure I say this correctly. She's strong with like the young girl demographic, especially the young black girl demographic. So it would be hard to turn her because, a la Super Cena, who never turned in his whole career, you would lose that person that they admire so much. And even though it's kayfabe, they're kids, they don't know that. So I think that's what holds back the Bianca turn. But I could see her getting a little more feisty, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more towards the tweener, but not too much where she loses the fan base, but just, a little bit more closer to the EST from NXT. That Bianca Belair, yeah. So that's what I think is going to happen with that. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, completely agree.
Bianca and Charlotte.
Definitely thinking the exact same thing. Yeah, I'm excited for Bianca and Charlotte whenever that eventually does happen.
I am too. I just hope that it doesn't happen at SummerSlam because that's what it's looking like. If Charlotte beats Asuka, I'm going to be very disappointed because I feel like they've done Asuka dirty.
Yeah.
Every time that she's gotten an opportunity or gotten the championship. I will be very excited for Charlotte and Bianca. I'm curious though if they would do a Bianca going over on Charlotte, or if Charlotte would go over. What do you guys think? Because remember, Charlotte passed the torch, if you will, to Rhea.
Yeah.
Do you think Charlotte does that 2 times?
So my problem, and I have to go back to Keith's coming here. No Charlotte, why? So my problem is, you're here, you lose, you disappear, you walk back in. We don't talk about your loss at all, and you're back in the title picture. There does not need to be anyone, including Ric Flair's daughter, who gets to walk in the building and call their shot for a championship match constantly. Right? There's times where it's like, oh, that's awesome, that's great. Right? Like when she came in and called a shot and won the belt and then lost it to Bianca. That was perfect because it got her another title ring. And I gotta admit, the best line that Bianca said in my mind was, "I had the championship for over a year. Do all your reigns even equal that?" Because it's so true. Charlotte and Sasha Banks were the two women that would win the belt and lose the belt like weeks apart every time. So do we need 17, 18 Charlotte reigns that are a total of 7 months? If you're going to give her the belt, give her the belt. Let her reign with it for a little bit. Don't give her the belt, then have her go. Let Bianca go over, right? But Bianca's become such a star in her reign that do you really want her not getting over as well? So you're kind of stuck if that's the way you go. Now, if you have Charlotte lose, then you get the Bianca Asuka part three. I mean that's going to be a great match, but there's not going to be a story that people are going to care about. Let's just be 100% honest. That's a Vince booking if that happens, in my opinion. But um, the main thing for me is I don't want I don't want Charlotte coming back, win the belt, and losing another month again, being a 15-time champion, and we add another month to her reign, another 2 months to her total reign time. If you're gonna let her win it and have it for a while. But she can't lose. It's okay if she loses. Like, she doesn't have to always win. It is okay if Charlotte loses. So if anyone from WWE Creative, Vince or Triple H, anybody's watching, it's okay if Charlotte loses a match for the championship. It is fine. The world will still spin on the same axis. We'll still have the same amount of hours of daytime. We won't lose oxygen. There won't be no mutants that spring up from the ground and start eating people. Everything will be fine with the world if Charlotte does lose. Just so you're aware. If she loses a championship match, it's fine without being a champion. Towards yours, Nick. My bad. I got a little rant there.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a friend who's a really big Charlotte fan, and I'm a big Becky fan. And I mean, Becky's been doing great stuff. I think she's going to end up going to Hollywood at some point, and Charlotte is going to be done probably sometime soon. I mean, I think she's going to be the one. She's going to get 16 titles, and then eventually they're going to have one more match. You know, they'll be the two to induct each other into the Hall of Fame, all that, and it's going to be a sad time for the women's division, but then they're going to have to find two great superstars, maybe down in NXT now, and that are going to fill those two shoes and eventually go after Charlotte's record of 16 times or however many she ends with. And like you said, title length versus number of titles, I don't think gets talked about enough. And I mean, Charlotte, now that I'm thinking about it, the last 4 years that I've watched, Charlotte and, like you said, Mercedes would win and then 2 months later lose and then come back, win, lose, and it just kept going and going and going. So absolutely agree with what both you guys said.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I could see them doing, especially with Triple H at the helm, because Triple H is a big Charlotte fan. Yep. But Christopher brought up a thing, Bianca became stale as her title run went on. She needed a new wrinkle. Maybe this chase of her going after, the big bad Charlotte Flair is that new wrinkle. Because maybe Charlotte beats her straight up. And then we have to watch Bianca's, fall from grace and then climb back up to the top. I don't know, but and then Christopher also asked, who is it better for Bianca to beat, Asuka or Charlotte? It's absolutely Charlotte. Absolutely.
That's only 4 horsewomen that she hasn't beaten yet.
Yep.
So we got Sajin says Bianca's his girl. Coach Dante with the what up? What's going on, Coach Dante? Now, if you watch Sports Empire Network shows, you know who Coach Dante is.
Yes, that is correct.
He's everywhere. He is everywhere. All right, and then Matthew says Asuka's a cheater. She put blue juice on her hands to win it from Bianca Belair. It's a cheater, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. You do what you gotta do to win.
Yep.
And then Christopher says Revolution is history. It's easy to look back and judge short range, but those matches were fire.
True.
So it's not the matches, in my opinion, Christopher. It's the fact that it's like you're manufacturing multiple reigns when it could just be one solid reign, because you have an end goal of having someone beat a certain mark just because. That's the only thing that makes sense on why you'd have somebody play hot potato with the championship every time they get it. Because it's not like it's a Jack Swagger situation where you get the belt, you have it for a few months, nobody wants you to have it, they take it off you, and then you never get it back. You lose it, you come back, you win it. You lose it, you come back, you get an opportunity at it, you win it. You lose it, you come back, you walk right into a championship match. Like it's a perpetual cycle, and this builds up the runs. And I think for those who don't like Charlotte, you're just making it worse when you do that. Like if she had to fight at least like in a 4-way or something to get there, then it's like, all right. Right? Just look at it this way. Cody gets hurt. Right? He comes back. He does have the briefcase. So he does have the Royal Rumble, right? He wins that when he comes back. So a lot of people loved it for Cody when he finished the score, but a lot of people are also like, oh, he just walks back in at number 30 and wins, right? So you had that camp too. That camp's much bigger with Charlotte because it continually happens. It's like Cody coming back and winning the Royal Rumble time after time after time after time. After a while, that does get old. So it's not that she's coming back. It's not that her reigns don't count, but it's that you're doing it every time. She loses. There's like, okay, I'm gonna lose this match. You gotta give me 3 months off. Takes her 3 months off. She comes back and acts like the loss never happened. And that's where I think a lot of people that are tired of her are getting that. I guess the best word is flare fatigue, because she's constantly in the title picture. It's okay, like I said, for her to do other things. And Keith says, see, I ranted about Charlotte last week. And she did. He did. I didn't touch it last week because he had a very good rant on Charlotte. But it's just, the more I think about it, the more it just irks me, because it's like, we have other people. Give the shine to other people sometimes. Let her help build up some of the other people the way she got built up when she first came up. Right? Help her build up other people. Doesn't always have to be a championship match. That becomes old. That becomes stale. So that's where I think we're at, with Charlotte and the women's division on SmackDown. On Raw, I mean, it's pretty easy, right? You've got a lot of people fighting for the women's championships or Money in the Bank, but there's only one woman there, Mommy, and it's gonna take a bad mamma jamma to beat Mommy. And I mean, that's all I have to say. You guys have any other thoughts on the WWE women's division on Raw?
Raquel Rodriguez is the future.
Agreed, 1,000,000%. I was going to say 1,000, but 1,000,000%.
That face off on Monday night, her and Rhea. Whew.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Sign me up. Take my money, Vince.
Agreed. I wholeheartedly agree. How did we get straight off of Collision?
We're going back. We're going back. All
right.
We're going back.
Whiplash.
Yeah. Christmas says, I get all of that, but I would argue when it builds her heat, it keeps it on her. So see, there's burnout and there's heat. For me, when Charlotte comes on TV, bathroom break, water break, I don't care anymore. The only reason that I watched this segment with Charlotte and Bianca was because Bianca was in it. Yeah. When she first came out, if Bianca hadn't came out in like 10 more seconds, I was going to get some drink and go to the bathroom, because I don't care anymore. So you say that it keeps heat on her? No, it gives her, it's not dominant heat. It's, I don't care heat. That's not good for business. And then you say Charlotte was losing to same level talent. It's not like she was dropping the belt to Maurice types. It's not about who it doesn't matter if she dropped the belt to Rhea Ripley every time. You keep the belt for 3 months and it's gone. That doesn't give you the same prestige as a Roman Reigns, as a Bianca Belair, as several other people who've held the belt for extended period of time. Ric Flair didn't go and win the belt for 3 months and then lose it and get to like 15, 16 times world champion. That's not what happened. He held on to it. He had long reigns. He had some short ones, but he had a lot of long, solid reigns as well. That's what's needed for her. And you have to, number one, be here. And you have to, number two, not call your shot on who you wrestle, when you wrestle, and when you win a championship. It's a burnout that's happening with her for a lot of people. There are people that love her. It doesn't matter what she does, they'll watch her. But there's a lot of burnout for this particular wrestler because of what happens every time she comes back. Now, I do agree that Raquel needs a little more character development. That's why we're saying future. Not yet, but it's coming. So back to Collision, as Chase so eloquently just put it. Now that we went through the women, back to Collision. So, guys, biggest point of Collision, of course, was the return um, of CM Punk. So I'll let you guys go around. What are your thoughts on the main event and on just CM Punk's return, his promo, and how are they going? Do you think they're going to handle CM Punk moving forward?
First thing I noticed whenever he came out, immediately got the mic, got in the ring, went to start talking, cutting the promo. He took off the flag box on the mic, and I thought, okay, that's weird. And I was getting ready for pipe bomb part 2, and I was just getting ready for him to go off, which kind of did, kind of didn't. Took a shot at the Bucks. It is what it is. And then his whole "tell me when I'm telling lies" thing was, I thought it was great. And then he put out that bag. What's in the bag? Probably the title that he has, whatever. And I think it's going to set up for him and MJF down the line, maybe at all in, all out, whichever one it is in Wembley. But I mean, there's a lot more people that I've seen that don't like him coming back and don't like them just potentially making this show that was just for him. And so Warner Brothers said, man, maybe not just for him, but hopefully it's. And he said there's the Sports Center article or ESPN article that came out and said, he tried to apologize, but he couldn't get in contact with, the Elite and all that. Hopefully they leave it alone and that's all it'll be, just the past, and everyone will move on and it can be business as usual.
Man, I couldn't disagree with you more, Nick. You got CM Punk tag teaming with the hottest tag team in the company right now, with creating a trio, and then you got three other guys on there. There's a lot to unpack here, so give me a minute, guys. Number one, All In Wembley is in August 27th.
Yeah.
1 week later, according to AEW's website, they have not changed it. According to AEW's website, All Out is 1 week later.
Mm-hmm.
And the location for All Out is still set to be determined.
Mm-hmm.
All In, if I'm AEW, I'm putting CM Punk in a match at All In. And then the following week, give me Kenny Omega versus CM Punk at All In at Wembley. And then the following week later, give me FTR, CM Punk against the Elite in Chicago at All Out. Mm-hmm. Like I said, there was a lot to unpack on all of that. Number one, the interview that Punk did with ESPN was monitored and coordinated by AEW. AEW is very strict about who interviews their wrestlers. Kind of, sort of. It just depends on who it is. It's weird, but it is what it is. I've interviewed Brock Anderson, and they had to watch and be in the room and blah, 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 and had to see my questions before I asked them and stuff like that. And then I interviewed Matt Sydal, and they were like, oh, we just want to sit in. And I'm like, okay, cool. If what Punk has in that bag is what we all think it is, which is his AEW championship that he never lost, that match has to go down the line further, because I got to see Adam Cole versus MJF at All In.
True.
That's the match that has to happen. Secondly, to that point, kind of piggybacking off of that, and then I'm going to revert back. I can't watch Adam Cole lose another title opportunity in AEW.
Yeah.
So there's the other point. Now, I've looked at Collision like a soft draft, if you will, a soft roster split, not a draft. Draft was a horrible word. I've looked at Collision like a soft
roster split. I like that.
Miro stays on Collision. Andrade stays on Collision because he can't get along with Sammy Guevara, Punk, etc., etc., etc.
Thunder Rosa stays on there because she has some other females.
Exactly. What happens if Punk pulls that title out of the bag and goes, well, I'm the champion. This is my championship, and I'm only going to defend it on my show, Collision. And MJF is, I don't like that. Now, if they do a double champion up until, like whatever the November pay-per-view Full Gear, if they do like a double champion, like the old Shawn and Razor used to do when there was 2 Intercontinental champions until the undisputed one was decided, cool. I'm all for that. But if we start getting separate titles for separate shows, I'm checking out, guys. I'm clocking out. I'm done. I'm not cool with that.
Well, Tony said that there's not going to be separate championships. Tony Khan did say that in the interview he did.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad, but this whole the whole hey, there's 2 world champions or there's 2 titles, kind of makes me go, what are we doing
like the TNT
here?
title they did with back in the day with Cody and Sammy Guevara. Yeah, I don't want to see that. I think that here's the problem with what you're saying, and I do agree with a lot of what you're saying, but here's the problem. Number one, I don't think the Young Bucks are going to do a match with CM Punk.
I do.
Right. Now, I don't think they will because they literally have issues. Like, he had to sit down with Kenny Omega.
Yep.
That multiple sources reported. But they refused to have a sit down and even iron things out with him. So that's one of the reasons why he's on one show and on another show. Keep in mind, the Young Bucks are about to be free agents, right? Unless they resign a contract. So you're going to want to keep them happy. They're going to be happy with not being around CM Punk because they genuinely do not like him. So I don't think that match will happen now. What I would like to see is CM get his first taste of gold.
Against who? Adam Cole, baby?
And no, I would like to see him get his first taste of gold and returning against the House of Black with FTR.
Oh,
that
the Trios Championship. I think it would be too.
The Trios Championships.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting because we've never had anyone be tag team champs and Trios champions at the same time. So I think that would be interesting.
Cool. At the end of the day, it's a business. If the Bucks really didn't like Punk that much, Punk wouldn't have came back. And the Bucks and the Bucks and Kenny aren't going anywhere. It's a facade. It's like the war. It's like the Great War of 2024. MJF is not going anywhere on January 1st, 2024.
He's already got a new contract.
It's a work. It's the same thing with Punk and the Elite. They may not like each other. There's a lot of guys in the business who didn't like each other. Brett and Sean, man, every single time they touch the ring, whew, magic, right? Cool. You're telling me that Punk and FTR are going to win the Trios Championships and they're not going to meet up with Kenny and the Bucks at some point?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting to, Chase.
At some point.
That's what I'm getting to. This is a well thought out thing. This is not just they're going to win them and that's it. So they win them. They have them for a while, right? Now, as the Bucks get into the new contract, Tony Khan keeps doing his work behind the scenes. This is where we get some months down the road, we get them all in a match. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I think it's going to take 6 months to a year to get them in the ring together because of the shoot work. Because I think there was problems. I think CM Punk was also injured. So it was like, this is a great way to write him off, give the Bucks and Kenny Omega a break, allow him to heal from the injury, as well as I think the fight itself, though, was not like a shoot. Like that was actually something that happened,
Yeah, no.
and then they turned it into like a work. But I think that it was a great way to get him out because he got injured, as always. That's the other thing about CM Punk. CM Punk is like street
He's
clothes
also
Davis of AEW.
he's also 45 years old.
Well,
So
I understand he's 45, my dude. I understand that. But if you look at most of your older wrestlers who still try to be full time wrestlers,
yeah.
they understood we don't try to do buckshot lariats. We
Yeah,
don't try to
exactly.
do those things that 30-year-olds do and 28 years
Dive
old do.
dive
Yeah,
into the crowd.
right. We understand that now that you're at a different age and you're more prone to injuries, you change your wrestling style. John Moxley doesn't wrestle like he did in WWE now, right?
Right.
He wrestles a
Yep.
style that he can wrestle. Daniel Bryan, he wrestles a style that he can wrestle, right? Moxley's had a lot of injuries. Daniel Bryan, he can't take a lot of headshots. So you've seen guys change the way that they wrestle as they get older. CM Punk has got to do that because it doesn't matter if you try to build a show around him if he's going to be out in 3 months injured for
Yeah,
another
exactly.
9 months. So
Exactly.
that's why I think you do have to have the other characters. You do have to have a Miro. You do have to have Wardlow, who should be stepping into the world title picture as well. I think you get Brock back on the show. I think you get Arn back. I think you grab a couple more people and let's get a newly named, newly minted Four Horsemen type group.
Hmm.
That's what everyone's been wanting. Can we get that? Can we get that AEW? Can that happen? That would be great. Thank you. So I'll go to the comments here real quick, guys. So Matthew says Nikki Bella had the Divas Championship for a long time, and then Charlotte Flair beat her. Yeah, and then Charlotte Flair had it for 2 months, probably, and lost it. I don't even remember which reign, but I'm sure it wasn't long.
I don't know.
Matthew says RIP
we are
Uncle Chase.
we are not related. So
Sajid says with Chase on this. Jordan, the JJL show guy, as well as several other Sports Empire Network shows, hits us with the fire emoji. And then Sajin says, Sleeper, what say you?
On
Okay.
what?
I'm assuming at the time we were talking about the whole situation with CM Punk and how it's
Oh
going to
yeah,
play
yeah.
out.
I mean, yeah.
So,
From going from what I said, yeah, kind of like the I can see what Chase you were saying. Yeah, like I said, I've only been watching week to week, weekly, and pay per views and all that stuff for 4 years now. So whenever CM Punk was huge and left WWE, and then was doing whatever he was doing, and then had heat with whoever, and the way he is, I didn't really get to see all that. So this was him leaving and Brawl Out, everything like that was the first taste that I've gotten to see who he really is, and any issues and stuff like that the Bucks would have. I mean, since I just started watching AEW, honestly, I didn't even know who the Bucks and Kenny Omega. I didn't know those guys. I only knew Seth Rollins and all the NXT guys that are up on the main roster now. That's so seeing it from different wrestlers and how they all go about what they do and everything like that. So I can see what you were saying, Chase.
and Kyle says, what up, guys? What's up, Kyle? So my thing with CM Punk is, and I'm in the minority, clearly. CM Punk was a good wrestler, at his
great.
peak.
Great.
I think he was a good wrestler.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Cool.
I'm doing it. I am doing it. I'm giving my opinion. You don't have to agree with my opinion. That's fine. I think CM Punk was a good wrestler, a very good wrestler, I'll even say. I think he got put on the map from the pipe bomb, right? He hasn't reached the level that he was with the pipe bomb, even when he continued in WWE until he left. I think that the break was bad for him. I think he should have at least did some shows on and off if he ever had a chance of really coming back to wrestling, just to keep himself in better wrestling shape and to keep himself a little bit more relevant. Because I think the thought of him is better than the actuality of him at this point. I don't dislike CM Punk, but
He froze. See,
We're
that's what
getting right
happens.
now, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Chase is over there pressing buttons, man. Chase is
I just like how he's kind of like frozen on that.
This is ridiculous. CM Punk,
It
stop
is.
it. You say stop it. But no, I just think it's and I'm not trying to devalue CM Punk, but I just think when you think about the top tier of wrestlers, I wouldn't quite put him there. Now he would be at the head of the next tier down, but I wouldn't put him at the top tier of wrestlers. But I think the thought of him, what you thought he, what people felt like he was so many years ago, is a little different from what he actually is. Now he's a jerk, and I like jerks, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying combine in-ring work, as well as everything that he did outside the ring, talk and all that. He was really good, but I wouldn't quite put him as great. And I think that he's a little overvalued by Tony Khan, but that's Tony Khan. It is what it is.
Numbers don't lie. Punk, MJF, Punk, Adam Page. Punk has been the biggest draw that AEW has had. So I don't think that Tony overvalues him. I think Tony sees him exactly for what he is. And I think that Tony played the right card. He said to those four individuals, can we grow up and act like adults and make money, or do we need to end this relationship and go our separate ways? And now we are at a position where, yes, we want to make money.
Yeah.
So,
let's say this. Yeah, Punk in those matches did great, but let's not pretend that John Moxley and Hangman Adam Page don't draw numbers. So those guys that you're
not like Punk did. The first $1 million house that they drew was from Punk. So
right, in Chicago,
like I'm not, right. We're not talking about cool. We're not talking about like good. We're not talking about good matches. We're not talking about great matches. I mean, like, yes, Moxley will go all day, and yes, Moxley can draw, but the highest numbers that AEW has drawn since its inception has been on Punk's belt. So that's why they're like, I mean, at the end of the day, the business is about making money.
And the business is about making money. The company didn't go under. The company did fine without Punk. I'm not saying he doesn't bring numbers because he's the commodity that you haven't seen. If Punk was around for this 9 months, he wouldn't be drawing the same way he's drawing now, or that he drew in the past. Because Punk, just like anybody else, over time, the same stick. It doesn't hit the same. But he's there for a little bit, he's hurt. So every return is big. Every return is, CM Punk's back. And you've got, especially whenever you went to Chicago for 7 years, all you got was CM Punk chance. They do a great job of making sure every time that they're in Chicago that CM Punk is featured, right? He's either in a match, he has a big promo every time they're in Chicago, and they get huge numbers from that. And I am not knocking them for taking advantage of the fact that you can go to Chicago and have CM Punk wrestle a broomstick and have 1 million people come watch CM Punk wrestle that broomstick. And every time that broomstick almost pins CM Punk, they hold their breath. A broomstick.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking them for that, but I'm saying, are you going to draw mega numbers from CM Punk for a year straight, 2 years straight? To me, the answer to that question is no. But in 3 month spans, then he's hurt, or he's out, or he's just not on TV or whatever. Then he makes this big return. He talks a little smack. He resets the CM Punk character. Yeah, small spurts, you definitely will. But does he have the staying power? That we don't know because he doesn't stay due to injury.
Agreed.
So that's all I'm saying about CM Punk. I think they overvalue him, but it's great business move. But I think long term, he's being overvalued. Couple more comments here. So Matthew says, Matt and Nick were the Young Bucks in TNA. Actually, they were Generation Me in TNA. But they were in TNA.
Little old
school. He says, RIP, Mr. Rob. That was doing my CM Punk was trying to attack our internet. And then Sajin says, Mac in the metaverse. We'll be back after these messages. Absolutely. And then Mr. Big Time itself, Doug says, uh-oh. Yeah,
we're supposed to be getting
stop
our.
hitting the button.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's about that time where we get our message from King Brooker.
I don't think he's coming on this week, man. He hasn't been on as much without you, man. I think you were the draw for him.
I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna need him coming with his crown. We need it. We
And
can't
the
call him King Brook. We can't call him King Brooker. We'll have to call him King Douglas. That's what we'll do.
We'll call him King Douglas or Lord Douglas. So any thoughts, guys? Well, one more thing we have to cover. The other stuff is, we can talk about all day, but there's one other thing that we must cover before we end the show. Right?
Absolutely.
That would be what happens.
The biggest news in professional wrestling right now.
Yes, sir. And you know what, Chase? Take it away.
Absolutely. I like to call it the super kick heard around the world. Because I've just got one thing to tell you guys. You're out. And I'm out too. Man, I'll tell you what. I have complained, bitched, and moaned about this story and all this stuff so many times. I like long title reigns. I don't like obsessively long title reigns. And I didn't like how the story was like, everybody overhyped this story, kept calling it the greatest. I'm still not going to call it the greatest story ever. I will call it the best story that WWE has done in about 10 or 15 years. Easily. I'll say that. That's fine. But man, just like when I'm like, yo, like I'm done. Then they find a way to be like, oh, we got a new little piece for you.
They pull you right on back in.
Yeah, they gotta peel another layer to it, man. And I was talking on a show on Sunday night, and somebody asked me. They said, do you want to see it end after Money in the Bank? I said, no. I said, now I'm ready for it to go a little bit longer. I'm ready for it to be stretched out a little bit here. Main event, Jey Uso, the right-hand man, finally pulls the trigger and ends the bloodline. And we're going to get to see the bloodline civil war. Jimmy and Jay versus Solo and Roman at Money in the Bank on Saturday.
So I have a couple of things on that, and then you can have the last word. You can take as long as you want to. For me, this is the reason why this is the best story is because every single person associated with this story has got a rub and been elevated. Normally, when you have these stories, one or two people come out looking better than everybody else. Everyone involved with this story, Paul Heyman, Matt Riddle, Randy Orton before his back just died on him, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Jimmy and Jay, Solo, Roman Reigns. Everyone has gotten a huge bump up.
Yep.
Right? Because of being a big glow up, let's say, because of being part of the story. But the one person who has got the biggest rub is main event Jey Uso. He said it himself. Roman's the reason why I was doing those. I was main eventing those shows. Roman's the reason why. But how many stories can we think about if you go back through the history of wrestling where everyone involved got to come up off of being part of the story? That's what we're seeing. That's what to me makes it the best story, because everyone is going to look better coming out of this than they were going into it. We didn't care about the Usos anymore starting this story. Like, they've been there, but we didn't care about them anymore. They got to the bloodline story. Jimmy was out with his situations and injury. Jay was there with Roman that started. Paul Heyman. We brought Jimmy into it with the Nobody's B t-shirt that while it's back in the market, Jimmy has to wear that t-shirt. No more we the one t-shirts. I want to see Jimmy in that Nobody's t-shirt, and Jay needs to be in a main event Jay t-shirt, period. But, listen to that, WWE, and I just want 1% of the royalties. That's all I want. But that's the big piece for me. I like the story, and I think we're going to see there's several people that could get a push from this. There's several people that could get a look that are outside. We could get Jacob Fatu could come in, Zilla. I think it's Zilla Fatu as well. There's a couple of other family members. Don't forget, we haven't had a female member of the bloodline. We've got Ava Rain. They've already said there's going to be more NXT call-ups. Why not call her up, let her learn with her cousin and her family? Down the line, you get a dad coming back saying, Ava, what are you doing? And Ava's looking at him like, go make Fast and Furious 13. Leave me alone. We're here doing the family business. You go over there and have fun, make your movies and live in your pretend life and get out of our face.
Right? Listen, I'm glad you brought that up, Cool. Because I have fantasy booked that in my head for the past 2 years.
Same.
One of my favorite movies of all time. And if you haven't seen it, then let me know. Hook with Dustin Hoffman and Robin Williams.
Oh, you have to have seen it. Come on.
Okay.
Hasn't seen Hook.
Right. Nick hasn't seen it, but that's all right. That's all right. Cool.
Nick,
cool.
You gotta go watch it. You gotta go watch that, Nick.
It's Robin Williams' best movie. So in the movie, when Pan finally, when Peter finally becomes Pan again and flies to the ship, and Jack is standing there with Captain Hook dressed up like him, and Robin Williams walks up and he goes, "Let's go home, Jack." And then Jack looks at him and goes, "I am home." And then Captain Hook laughs menacingly and says, "Good form, Jack. Good form." Ava Rain gets called up, and Ava Rain becomes the new right-hand man for Roman Reigns and does all his dirty work for him. And she's big and bad. Nobody can touch her. She's a gigantic Samoan female. And then Rock comes back and he says, "Ava, come on." And then she's like, "No, acknowledge your tribal chief." And then that's when Rock takes off. That's when Dwayne Johnson becomes the Rock again and takes off the Rolex and says, "Okay, now the tribal chief stuff didn't bother me for 3 years. I was going to let you have it, but you took my baby girl from me, so now I'm coming to get it."
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Chase made a wish. His wish came true, big time. What's going on?
All hail King Douglas.
Ladies and gentlemen, usually wherever I go, there is a crowd that follows. Here I am again. I had to jump in on, usually when I make my little spot here, I usually come with the old stuff, but this stuff that y'all talking about is so good that I'm not even about to mess with the old stuff. I'm going to give my opinion. I'm going to fall in line, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to fall in line with you guys in your topic. I'm just here, I'm going to pop in and pop back out in just a second. Listen, this storyline is so great only because of one reason. It's so many layers that have not even been touched yet. Chase, you just hit the big fish in the pond. Sooner or later, if they really want to make some real money, some crazy money, they just missed the opportunity at WrestleMania. But it's still there. It could be at SummerSlam or something like that. If they bring The Rock back, come on now. This would be huge. But there's another big one there. It doesn't have the same sexiness of The Rock. But if Rikishi gets involved in this, depending on how they do it, because he's got 3 boys that's in this, and now the brothers are going against each other. And maybe the dad is the only one that can get everything back straight, and he can then turn his anger toward Roman, or vice versa. Rikishi could come in and say, "This man is the tribal chief. y'all two boys need to get yourself together. If not, Daddy gonna have to put y'all back in line. I mean, it is so many untouched layers yet. The other layer that obviously that everybody see coming is Solo turning on a Roman eventually. And I mean, it's just, and then of course the Usos could turn back heel, and I mean it is so much. This thing could go on for another year and a half, 2 years, to be honest with you, and still keep the same attention span of the viewers. We haven't had nothing like this. Now I'm a little older than you guys, so I'm gonna go back just a little bit. I'm gonna stick with WWE, and I'm gonna go back to maybe about 1997. The best storyline that I saw up until this point was the first origination of Kane when he came against the Undertaker. That lasted for about 3 months till the Undertaker because came back and met him at WrestleMania. And the story really never died, even to the point where they became brothers, actually beat everybody up and turned on each other again. I mean, that's almost a 15-year story on and off again. But this is the closest thing that I've seen. Whoever's writing this stuff, you know, they deserve something because this is some outstanding stuff that looks like it will not die. So I agree with y'all 100%, but I'm gonna go with Chase. Everybody's point is right so far, but it's the the untouched layers of this thing that has not been touched yet that will even draw even bigger numbers. If The Rock get involved in any kind of way, it's gonna be huge. If Rikishi shows up, I'm telling y'all, if Rikishi shows up to get his boys back in line, it's gonna be big. So I ain't want to veer off like I usually do. I want to stick with that because this is some real quality stuff on this. That's all I want to say, y'all. That's the only reason why I popped up.
We appreciate whenever
But if I want to go territory, I'm sorry, cool. If I want to go territory, now I'm really going to show y'all my age. This goes back to the Memphis days when Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee used to go at it nonstop, tag team, on and off again. About a 30, 40-year feud. Y'all don't know nothing about that, but go ahead, carry on.
So sort of like what we're in the middle of with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They friends 1 minute.
The only but the only thing about Kevin and Sammy is that it didn't have the national, they had to build this thing.
Yeah.
This thing here was already, prime time type stuff. SmackDown purposely holds this stuff to the end. Every now and then they'll do the 8 o'clock hour. Every now and then. If they do the 8 o'clock, it's something that's going to happen at the end. They give you a double dose. But usually they wait to the end. That's why the ratings are so good, because everybody want to see what's next. And it is brilliant. Triple H, I'm quite sure, got a lot to do with this. It's brilliant stuff that we're seeing right now. Storytelling. And let's not forget, these guys are pretty good in the ring too. So let's not forget that. It's matched with the in-ring ability of all of them. It's some good stuff going on. I'm done.
Hey, well, big time. Anytime that you hop on with us, we always appreciate that, sir. That little wrinkle that you throw in, we love it.
Absolutely.
Hey man, hold on a second. Now, for my brothers here, for Sleeper and Chase and Cool, now I done showed up. Whoever this Matthew Holland say, I'm Tony Atlas. You showing your age, and I know about him. I like that. You said Tony Atlas. I like that. What I don't like is that all of y'all that's on here, now when I show up, electricity comes. But these brothers been putting it down. I need everybody on here to put some likes down real quick. Come on, press the likes. Yes.
Or the loves, whichever one you want.
Y'all, it don't take you much. It's that quick. Bam. Press the likes real quick for these guys who giving you some high quality stuff. I like these guys. I just sit here, just turn it on and listen. Y'all know y'all stuff. I like that. I mean, I'm a library. Y'all a library. I'm an almanac. I go all back to the 70s. So you know what I'm saying. So go. You know what I'm saying. Hey, whatever you need, I'm here for it. But this is some good stuff y'all talking about. Y'all doing a great job. I appreciate y'all letting me pop in on y'all.
Not a problem. So we look forward to it.
We always feel very blessed to be graced with King Douglas's presence upon us common folk. So we're gonna get you your own segment here as soon as we get it. We're gonna go. We're gonna put big time in the King's Corner or King's Corner, something.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you so much, man. Carry on, because I'm enjoying listening, y'all. I'm gonna hang with y'all for the rest of the show and listen in. This bloodline thing is super. No doubt about that. Y'all go ahead and talk. I don't mean to interrupt y'all. Go ahead.
Oh, you good. So a couple of comments here. No problem. So a couple of comments here that we're gonna go ahead and jump into real quick. So Sajin says, I'm looking forward to the new tribal chief is what he was saying. Says he hasn't seen that one yet, talking about the movie.
Hook.
The Hook, yeah. He says, just saying, acknowledge me. Maurice hits us with the fire emojis. Key with the old snap for big time hopping on. Who is a great laugh, me or Robin Williams. I've never heard you laugh, Matthew, so
it's very much
not a comparison. Nice. Yeah, I can make. Key then says, yes, Doug in the building. Sajin says, what up with it big time? Key's getting excited thinking about the Rock in Philly because, like me, she'll be at WrestleMania next year. Says she would lose her mind pretty much. Matthew says, big time says, Rikishi funny. A lot older, big time King. And then, yeah, that was a good story too, talking about the Kane story. Maurice, Big Mo hits us with the what's good, fam. Appreciate you checking in. A lot of comments, guys, so we appreciate it because that means you watching, you interacted. Can you see Keith Stink Face Roman? I just visualized that, Keith. That would be wild. Big Time likes his wrestling. Then Key, I was thinking this, I promise you. I was thinking this. Raw needs to take notes. 1,000% agree. Big Time is Tony Atlas' brother. We put it up before, Matthew. Matthew also hits us with the I'm 24. All right, Sajin already Big Time saying old school props. Then we got Grind and Carve, excuse me. Then we got
probably gonna have to skip over that one.
Yeah.
Might have to hit the three buttons and put Grind in timeout. Put his ass in timeout.
Yeah, Grinding is definitely going in timeout, sir.
Yep. Sucker.
Grinding is in timeout right now. For that one. All right. And then hit the like button for my guys. And then Gene acknowledge me. Logan wins Money in the Bank. Solo
Absolutely.
And Roman lose the Usos and Roman blames Solo. I can see that happening.
The second one, absolutely, I can see.
Yes. I can actually see. I mean, honestly, I can actually see both because Logan just got himself inserted. He ain't win no match, nothing. He just got himself inserted. Anybody who could just get themselves inserted could possibly do that. And then, he's one lucky punch away with those screws in his hand.
You remember the same thing happened to Austin Theory last year.
Yep.
Austin Theory got inserted and then he won. So it's a very good point, Key. Or cool. Key, cool.
And then Fuji says, what's good? Fuji, one of my co-hosts on the Eagles Elite podcast. And then Gene says it's LA Knight or Logan. Hey.
Yeah.
And then Logan talked to management.
No, he just drank his prime.
That's right.
That's all. Just drank his prime.
He definitely made sure he got a lot of time for prime on TV, right? This dude had a prime in his back pocket. And he just kept taking like tiny sips. I'm like, all right.
Yep. Agreed.
And then Sajin says, much love to you guys. Every time I come here, I always have a good time. Key led me here. Bet. And then
So,
Nick,
well, I was going to
manipulate
say,
Nick. Go ahead. Chase. Oh, actually, we were in the middle of you, Chase. So continue on.
no.
So
Well,
carry on.
I was going to say, I'm done with. We're done with all that. If Nick wants to chime in on that, that I was just going to ask, do we want to follow that up with some Money in the Bank talk predictions, maybe?
Absolutely,
Because it's
absolutely.
Saturday, right? Yeah.
Next Saturday.
It's next Saturday, actually, so we can do it
Yeah.
next week.
Forbidden Door is this Sunday.
Yeah, Forbidden Doors this week.
Oh, that's right. I keep thinking Saturday's the first.
Don't feel
My
bad.
days,
You're not the only
my
one.
days are all jacked up, guys. Pay no attention to me.
A few times they'll let you know it's July 1st too. All
But
right,
yes, Nick,
your turn, sir.
For the bloodline, the finishing up
Yeah.
like, with the bloodline story.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I
Yes,
mean,
ma'am. Yes, sir.
going after WrestleMania when Roman had the interview and all he had to say was, "We're making filet. I can't even say it. We're making steak. Not it's need to hold your attention span. Filet. I can't even say it.
Filet mignon.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Hold your attention span and it's not TikTok, it's not YouTube Shorts, it's not any of this. It's gonna be seasoned, well done, main course, everything. It's gonna be perfect, worth the wait, and it has been. I have so many of my friends are not into wrestling at all, but they know that I watch it. They'll come over on Friday and they'll be watching SmackDown. All of a sudden, Roman's music will hit and they'll look up from their phone and they're on the TV for the whole time that he's on. And then they look at me and they're like, what's going to happen? And I'm like, I guess you'll have to come back next Friday and find out. Or like at Elimination Chamber with the whole Sammy and Roman thing. I had my friend and 3 of my cousins in there watching, and they're all watching, eyes glued to the TV. It ends, and they're like, why would they end it like that? Why wouldn't they just give it to Sammy? I'm like, you guys don't even watch. And yet here you are being invested in it. I'm like, they got you invested. And then every time I see them, what's going on with Roman? How's the bloodline doing? And I have to tell them. And then they're like, no, there's no way. There's no way Jay did that. Whatever, Jimmy did that. Show them the videos. And they're like, wow. And they keep coming back. So, like, I mean, I can't say anything else that hasn't already been said. So just Roman. I mean, like I said, I've only been watching for 4 years now, but Roman is my GOAT. And I know that doesn't mean I'm only 4 years watching, so I can't really say anything, but it's all I know. So,
And see, that's Sajin says exactly what I was thinking. You got them hooked, right? You've got other people hooked, and it's that storyline, right? It's that continuation. What's happening next? It's so people all the time say, wrestling's fake, right? We hear that from people all the time.
Yep.
Does this look fake to you? Obviously, we know that they're getting along off camera, but the characters that they're playing, it's just like a soap opera. The characters that they're playing are at war. And they're blurring the lines between reality because they're family, they're all part of the bloodline and everything. So another quick point I want to touch on, part of it, but not, where do we go with Cody's story, right? Because something's gonna happen with Cody and Roman at some point. And there's a very important reason why. Listen to his theme song. The very first line that he says in his theme song.
Yep.
It says, wrestling has more than one royal family. It actually says wrestling has more than one royal family. But we'll just say it says wrestling has more than one royal family. I had to do that. I can't help myself. I really can't. I just can't. But so I think at some point there's going to be an intersection down the road once the bloodline itself kind of plays out. I think once we get not to WrestleMania coming, but sometime after maybe SummerSlam, we're going to see that revergence of Cody and Roman. Because Cody could beat anybody on Raw and win the World Heavyweight Championship. And yeah, he won a championship, blah, 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 whatever. But the championship he wants, the one that his father never had, is the one Roman has. That's the one he has to win.
Yep.
I don't care if he wins no championship for a year and a half. If his first championship in WWE is the one that Roman Reigns has on his waist at that time, that's the important part. That's what needs to happen for Cody to finish his story. He can go off and fight Dom, and he can go off and get beat up by Brock and all that. That's fine, because you have to do something WWE with Charlotte Flair besides having him in the main event fighting for a championship all the time. You can do the side stories, but you still have the main focus. It's kind of like, I say this all the time, it's kind of like what they did with Stone Cold, right? When he was being elevated, he didn't just walk in and win the championship. He had a shot, but then he kept getting derailed before he could get back.
The thing that's really interesting about Cody right now, there's a couple of things. Number one, if you're watching, they're doing hard times.
They are.
Cody's going through hard times right now, and you may not like it, but there's a very high chance that Cody's going to win the Royal Rumble again. And I think this time he'll come out at 15 and win it. Maybe possibly even 1 or 2.
I would
Maybe
love
12.
that.
I would love to see him at 12. That's something about 12.
Yep.
Right. It's early enough, but it's late enough where you're not like at the beginning.
Exactly.
Chase, I have to say this. If he does a hard times promo, I'm going to lose my ish.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll do a hard times promo.
But if he does, I'm going to lose my ish.
I take that back. Cool. We all know how Cody is. Cody will reference it. But, I mean, look at what they've done. Getting beat up by Brock Lesnar. Barely beating him. Losing. Now he's facing Dom. And you know, now he's trying to get back to and dude, there's a possibility that Dom will probably win, because I could see Brock Lesnar coming in and costing the match.
Exactly.
Cody Rhodes is doing the hard time story right now, and you're going to see it go on until about November-ish, and then you're going to see his ascension. Here's the other thing. What keeps resurfacing on social media and that keeps resonating with me is that promo that Cody cut on Roman. Jimmy will leave you, and Jay will follow right behind him. And then eventually Solo will leave you. And then Paul Heyman becomes an advocate again. And then you're a Roman with no empire. A chief with no family. And Cody's going to wait for that to happen. And then that's when Cody's going to go pick at Roman. I had the prediction this year, and I still think it could happen next year. The great thing about the times that we're in right now, guys, is we get WrestleMania 2 nights in a row. Roman thinks story-wise, character, the tribal chief character, thinks he's the greatest of all time. What happens if Roman faces Rock on night 1 and then has to fight Cody night 2 for the championship?
Take my money.
If you do that, I agree with Nick. I'm just planning on going to one of the nights in Raw, but if you're going to have Roman have to pull double duty, my money's yours.
Because a lot of people were like, "Hey, how could they do Rock and Roman this year?" And I was without it being for the title, because it shouldn't involve the title. And I was like, well, it can involve the title, but you got to have Rock and Roman night 1, because Rock will take Roman to the very ends of the universe, to his very limits, and Roman will barely beat him. Yep. And then the next night, that's when and you still protect Roman. Yep. Roman still has this aura about him. Like
we talked about with Jade.
Yep. I was just thinking the same thing.
Yep.
So I like it. Chase. It could happen at SummerSlam next year too. Not this year, but it could be SummerSlam next year. But I think it's going to happen.
Yep. Agreed.
It's definitely going to happen. Now the only thing about it is, and one last thing I have to say about the Bloodline thing, new members are coming, I think. Definitely new members are coming. Now the question is, can those new members get that same rub? If they can get the same rub over 4 or 5 months, dude, that adds probably 30 more layers they can go with. Because
Oh,
each one of those people, when do they get tired of Roman? Are they really on his side, or are they just there to kind of get him to pull down his guard?
Yep.
So yeah, it's exciting, man. There's a lot going on with it. Hey, we're an hour and a half in, y'all. And it doesn't even feel like it. I just have to look at the clock.
I know.
An hour and a half in. So guys, a couple more comments here. So Matt is our resident semi-troll here, which, hey, not a problem with me at all. He says, I would cheer you up with knowing wrestling except freaking Rogan. And then he says, a chief and no thief in regards to Roman. He also says, smack his face off, Uncle Chase.
That's right.
No relation. Chase already said no relation.
No
but
relation.
Yeah, for me, man, just want to say thanks to everyone that watched. Thanks to everyone that liked all the comments. If you watched the live, if you watched the replay, make sure you hit that like or that love button. We need it. It helps people know that you care. It helps the algorithms know that you care about seeing us, and you want us to be seen by you and more people.
Absolutely.
Nick, any last words for you, Nick, and then we'll let Chase finish it off. Mr. CR Media himself.
I had a lot of fun. This is the first time I've ever really gotten to do something like this. I kind of do similar stuff on my YouTube channel. I'm not big on Facebook yet. I mean, I have a group and post in other groups and stuff like that. I have a page for Sleeper Sports Media, my kind of brand. I'm building mostly, but I'm always trying to do watch-alongs for the weekly episodes of Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, all that stuff. So that's over on my YouTube channel, which is just Sleeper Sports Media. But yeah, I had a lot of fun tonight, so I would definitely be back if you guys will have me.
Absolutely. The only thing I want to add really quick before we close out is there's got to be something that happens this week on Dynamite, because Forbidden Door has only 4 matches in it.
I was thinking that too.
Yep. And we'll talk about that next week. Hopefully Forbidden Door is hopefully it's a good show. But as Cool said, Nick, we appreciate you joining with us. It'll be good to get some fresh faces in here and whatnot, and get some some different perspectives. I love hearing that. As you know, me and Cool go back and forth sometimes, so it's nice to hear when different opinions other than my own. Although I love the sound of my voice. Like I said, Sports Empire Networks, residential pro wrestling guy. If you got something, you come talk to me, and we'll get it hooked up for you. Other than that, Cool, close us out.
Let's get it.